Okay, the computer is in the corner, and I have most of the cables plugged in. Things like my second monitor, my joystick, both my webcams, my second mouse, those things that are just not necessary are not plugged in, but I do have my keyboard, which is in the keyboard tray, my main mouse, and my main monitor plugged in, as well as the Ethernet cable and obviously the power cable. I also have the left side panel off just to make it easier on myself in case something goes wrong in this test, but we're going to find out if this turns on or not. Moment of truth. So first thing, let's turn on the power supply with the switch at the back. Okay, that is on, and I see no lights on the motherboard. That is not a good sign at all. Maybe this motherboard just doesn't have lights to indicate that it's getting power. Who knows? Let's try pressing the power button now. Oh boy. It turned on! Hooray! Oh my god, is that loud? Why is that so loud? This is so much louder than my previous computer, even though I'm using the exact same fans. Except for the fans at the top. Maybe that's why it's so loud. Is that why? Yeah, ooh. Stepped on my chair. I think the top fans are why it's so loud. How about these? What if I try to make it quieter with this fan? Nah. I think the reason it's so loud is because of the fans at the top cooling the CPU on the H100. So I'll need to turn those fans down, that is for sure, in the BIOS. Why is there nothing showing on my monitor yet? My monitor just says no signal right now. There's nothing showing. What is wrong? Is my motherboard giving an error code? Error code 53, and there's a red light turned on next to the RAM. Okay, I guess let me figure out what's up with that, and then I'll be back. Alright, so an error code of 53 and a red LED next to the RAM means that the RAM is incompatible or is running at the wrong speed. And the way I correct that is by holding down a button, and apparently that should fix it. So let's see if I can hold down a button and have this work for me. Where is that button though? Okay, it's flashing, which means it's working. It's trying to find a way to make it boot. It turned itself off. So much quieter now. And it's on. The red LED is still flashing. You guys can't see the LED, so I'm just telling you what's happening, rather than lowering the tripod. Because I'm smart like that. I'm lazy. Red LED is still flashing. Oh, it's flashing faster now. What does that mean? Like, slightly faster. I guess it's still trying to find a valid speed. That's all I can guess. Yeah, you guys can't see the LED at all. What if I could lower the tripod? Now can you see it? Yeah, now you can see the LED, except now it's solid, so it couldn't find a stable memory thing. This is wonderful. What do you do when your memory doesn't work with your motherboard and you have no spare memory laying around? Oh dear, I don't know what to do. Well, I guess I gotta try something else. Maybe I'll keep pressing the mem button and hope it eventually finds a valid speed. I don't know, but I'll do it off camera and I'll come back when the computer is hopefully working. Well, I have tried doing the mem OK button, which is what I did with you guys on camera first, and I've tried it a few times. I've tried clearing the CMOS, which resets the BIOS, and I've tried doing the mem OK button after that as well, and it still isn't booting. You guys see that red dot right there? That's the red LED. That means my memory is bad. So, or just the motherboard isn't compatible with the memory. Maybe the memory is just perfectly fine. But the next step, the only thing I can think of is to remove all of the RAM DIMMs except for one, and just have it run in single channel mode with 4 gigs of RAM, and see if it'll boot that way. And if it does, that means one of my sticks is bad, and I should try to figure out which stick is bad. If it still doesn't boot, then I should try a different stick. And then if it still doesn't boot, I may just have to take the RAM out of my old computer, because the old computer's RAM is still compatible, it's just not as fast, and I know that RAM is perfectly good. So, a few things to try. Let me see if I can get this working. Look at this, guys. I press the power button, it turns on, and there's no red LED over here. There is one over there, but that's the error code thing, which is currently, I don't even know what it's currently at. 62. I'm pretty sure you guys can't see that, but it says 62. So, yeah, error code 62. I believe that's a good thing, because it's actually turning on. So, I got it working with 1 stick of RAM. Turn on a flashlight. You might be able to see that there's 1 stick of RAM in there, and that is all. So the way I got it working was, first I took out all the RAM sticks, blew on them, and then put them back in, and that didn't work, so I took out 2 of them and only had 2 in there. That still didn't work, so I took out 1 more and only had 1 in there. That still didn't work. So I took out the one that was in there and replaced it with a different one, and now it turns on. So the question is this particular RAM stick bad, because this is the one that I had alone and it didn't work, but this one alone does work? Or is there something wrong with my motherboard? That is the question. So, the way we find out is I add in one of these 2, which are unknown whether or not they're working, in a second slot. So I have 2 sticks in there, and if that works, then I replace the one that I just added in with this one, which is the one that is possibly not working. And then if it doesn't work, that means this stick does not work. If it does work, then there's probably something wrong with my motherboard, or I simply didn't have the RAM sticks in there properly. If you guys remember from whatever video it was, I don't even know because I haven't edited this series yet, but whatever video it was where I inserted the RAM into the motherboard, so that means this slot... Does this side not open? Is this only one side that opens? I've never seen RAM slots like this. That's interesting. Okay, both sides don't open. That is definitely interesting. Remember how there's only one side that locks on the RAM with this motherboard? I am thinking that's what's hurting me here. Let me see if I can show you guys. I probably can't. But basically, let me show you on a RAM stick. So, on the RAM stick, this goes in the motherboard like this. It just goes down, and then it needs to lock on both sides. There's a latch that goes into the nook on this side where my pinky is, and the same on the other side. There's a latch that goes into that nook right under my index finger. But on this motherboard, for some reason, it's the first motherboard I've ever seen with this, it only latches on one side. So that may be causing me issues here. I don't know. But like I said, I'm going to have to test and see if this stick is working or not, with the test that I described earlier. And if it turns out it is working, then it's probably just either the RAM's not getting locked into the motherboard properly because it only latches on one side, or there's something wrong with my motherboard. So I'll be back when I figure that out. But for now, at least it does boot, so overall it is working. I just gotta figure out if the RAM is bad or my motherboard is bad, or if I've just been doing this incorrectly. Alright guys, I got the computer working with all 4 RAM slots in the motherboard. So I'm not going to take the time to explain how I got them working, because it was a complicated and hard to explain process. But it's going to be one of 2 reasons for why it didn't work the first time with 4 sticks, but it works now with 4 sticks. Either option 1, the motherboard cares which particular stick goes in which particular slot, which is very unlikely but is possible. My first computer had that issue because it was based on the NVIDIA N4680i chipset. Those of you who ever used that motherboard chipset know how picky it was with RAM. So either that's the option, which is very unlikely, or I just didn't have the RAM sticks in all the way or in properly in the motherboard the first time. And that's the more likely option, especially because this motherboard only latches in on one side of the RAM stick and not both sides. But, like I said, I have it working with all 4 RAM sticks. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn on the computer. And it becomes very loud for a while, and then it quiets down here pretty soon. There we go, now it's quieting down. And I'm going to make sure that everything is detected, like everything's plugged in, the motherboard is detecting everything that it should, all 6 hard drives, the DVD drive, everything else as well. The network card is one thing it needs to detect. So we're going to check that together, and then if it actually has detected everything, please enter setup to recover BIOS setting. Press F1 to run setup. Yeah, I'll run setup. That's what I want to do. I pressed delete to go into the BIOS. I guess I was a little bit too late for that. Oh, this has a UFI BIOS. There's actually mouse support. Wow. Except it's extremely sensitive. Okay, well, I still need to check if everything is detected by the motherboard, and I don't know my way around this UFI BIOS. That's wonderful. This might take a little while. Maybe I should do this off camera. Because I know my way around most BIOSes, but none of the UFI BIOSes. Because UFIs are new for most people. I have never used a UFI BIOS, so I'm just going to do this off camera rather than stumble my way around. So I'll be back once I've figured out if the motherboard has detected everything or not. Excellent. So, my computer is fully set up, more or less. I think there are a few small changes I want to make, but I can just do those later. I didn't even make a point out of them when I was making the videos before, so there's no reason to make a point of them now. All the RAM works. I have the BIOS set up so that everything's in the correct mode, everything's recognized, there were no issues with that. The only issue I'm having with the computer is how loud it gets when you turn it on at first, and I know exactly why it's doing it, but I don't like it. So I might try to mess around with that and make sure it doesn't do that, but listen to this. Listen to how loud it gets. So you heard that. It gets quite loud when you turn it on, and I do not like that at all. So the reason it's doing it is the 2 fans that are attached to this radiator up here are connected to the motherboard, and they are very loud fans. Currently, the reason they're quiet is because they're running at like 50% or something like that. And when you immediately turn the system on, they run at 100%. So that's why the system's getting loud. So I may just put those fans on the fan controller I have in front of my computer here. Or I might put it on the fan controller that's right here. That little switch is another fan controller I have. Currently, I only have one fan on a fan controller. It's the one at the very back there. It's the golden one. And I have it on the fan controller in here. So nothing is on this fan controller. That was loud. Yeah, nothing's on this fan controller yet. The issue is that none of the fans I wanted to put on it would fit on it. Because I wanted to put the 2 fans that are attached to this radiator on the fan controller, but both the top fan controller and this one that I bought many years ago only support 3-pin fans, but the fans up here are 4-pin fans, so I may, off camera, after the series is over, I may take these 2 fans right here, this one and this one, which are meant for radiators, just like the fans I currently have on the radiator on my computer. The 2 fans I just showed you are meant to go on radiators, just like the fans I currently have on here are meant to go on radiators. So I may just replace these fans with the ones I just showed you, because the ones that I just showed you are 3-pin and not 4-pin, and so they will work with both this fan controller and this one, so I can use either one that I want. But that's the only issue I'm having with the computer. Other than that, it is awesome, I guess. Well, I guess one more issue, if I want to be picky, is that this light doesn't stick anywhere because I don't have any more Velcro pads to stick it with. So currently it's just dangling off to the side, and I'm never going to turn it on because it'll shine right in my eyes through the window in the case. So yeah, it's just going to sit there, just like it did before in my previous build. I wish they make better Velcro on with the light kits. Well, Jesus, if you're listening to me, for some odd reason, put better Velcro. It doesn't stick. The sticky pads are still up here in the roof of the case, but the light never stays on them. Anyways, guys, the computer works. There's the UFI BIOS, which is awesome because it has mouse support. You can see my mouse moving around there. I haven't done any overclocking, and the stats you're seeing here are actually incorrect. So don't pay attention to those if you're trying to read them in the video. Well, I guess the only incorrect ones are the RAM speed. It's supposed to say 2133, and I have verified that the RAM is running at 2133. It just doesn't say the correct speed in that spot. But anyways, like I said, computer is working. Next step is to install this wonderful, wonderful piece of software called Windows 8.1. Terrible UI, but such an improvement over Windows 7 in the background that I think it's worth getting 8.1 over 7. So I'm going to install Windows, install all the programs, and after I've done that, you guys will see these videos because there's no way I can render them before I get this computer working. Like, I can't render videos on my laptop. It just isn't gonna happen. This laptop has a not mean to hit my laptop. It has a 12-hour battery, so it's very low power, although it does have plenty of performance, but the 12-hour battery is what I bought it for. And something with a 12-hour battery cannot have too much performance, so it would just take forever to render on that computer. So I'm just going to use this one once I have Windows installed and all my programs installed. But as for the series, that is going to do it, I think. Wait! I have one more thing I want to show you guys. Look at how fast this boots Windows, because this SSD is so fast, and because it's just a fresh installation of Windows. So I'm going to turn on my computer. You can hear it turning on, maybe. It's quite loud in my ears. And it's going to go through the normal the normal post stuff. You can see it says ASUS, that's just part of the motherboard, and once it's done with all the motherboard stuff, watch how fast it loads Windows. So I'll let you know when it's doing that. There's a lot of motherboard stuff to go through first. The motherboard doesn't boot very fast. It'll load Windows on the right screen, by the way. There we go. It started loading Windows. Look how fast it loads. And we're already logged in and good to go. Just that fast, because this SSD is just so awesome. I mean, Windows 8 has performance improvements. It's also a fresh install of Windows, combined with the fact that I have a really fast SSD. This boots so fast. The slowest part of the boot is the motherboard, sadly. And I could make it faster. There are actually settings that I can change to make it faster, but then I end up losing out on some features, and I don't want to do that. So the slowest part of the boot is the motherboard. But Windows boots so fast, it is awesome. Anyways, just wanted to show you guys that. So that should be it for the series now. I am done, I think. Maybe. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you all in some future videos. Bye, guys.